What's up, everybody? Gerard here from the 3T crew with our G1 Climax 30 Finals review. It's been a long tournament, a month long. Some good matches, some bad matches, some comedy matches, and everything in between. We've been reviewing it, we've been breaking them down. Now we have finally reached its conclusion with the Golden Star Kotaibushi versus the Cold Skull Sonata. But before I break down the match, let me tell you where you can listen to the 3T podcast. It's on Apple, Spotify, TuneIn Radio, Google Play, Podbean, iHeartRadio, and now we're announcing that we're on Stitcher. If you want to buy the shirts, support the crew, buy the merch, cop the merch, I'm trying to make it rhyme, but it's not really working. We're on ProWrestlingTees.com. Help us pay our bills. If you want to check out our social medias, if you like wrestling memes and wrestling news and everything in between, check us out on iStrongStyle and Through the Table on Instagram, on Facebook at Through the Table, on Twitter at 3TPod, and lastly, at iStrongStyle on TikTok. Now let's jump into the review. A lot of the matches to start the show were a lot of tag matches. Tanahashi's going to be challenging Kenta for the U.S. title briefcase. That he could be fighting Jon Moxley for a U.S. title at some point. That was the one big thing that really happened. A lot of other matches were set up, building into the tag league and the Best of Super Juniors, and eventually into Power Struggle in November. But we're not here to cover all that. If you want a more comprehensive coverage of the finals and the entire tournament's entirety, check out our podcast. We'll be doing a full review on that. This is strictly about Ibushi versus Sonata. This match went about 36 minutes and 12 seconds, I believe. Builds off slow, like a typical big New Japan match, big match feel. The match starts off slow. They even brought Masahiro Chono out to announce the start of the match. Has won back-to-back tournaments. The only other guy to do it was Tenzan. So it kind of set the mood where Ibushi was at. He was the gods that he wants to be, the gods that he really wants to become. One of them are there watching him, essentially. And that's the play on this match. So Chono's there. It set the tone that this is a big match. This is bigger than last year's block finals. Bigger than last year's block finals. Bigger than last year's finals. Great match. Starts off slow. Typical New Japan style, like I mentioned. They had a lot of working Kota's injured leg. Got a lot of holds with Sonata. And then once Ibushi started picking up the pace, the match really started picking up. There was a scary spot where they were doing jump overs, and he tried to jump under his drop kick, Sonata's drop kick, and caught a mean elbow to the head. Ibushi was kind of rattled for a little bit throughout the start of that match, but he ends up recovering throughout. A lot of awesome powerbomb spots where he catches Sonata. Sonata really brought it here in his first G1. The announcers did talk about how he's in the deep end. He's never been here before, while Ibushi has. So Ibushi was a little more comfortable in the setting. But due to how the Cold Skull is, he's very even-keeled to a fault at times, as they mentioned. But in this scenario, it kind of helped him, his even-keeled personality. So the bright spot did not affect him as much as it has against Okada when he was fighting for the title. And he kind of got a little carried away. But it did backfire at one point. They had the Dragon Sleeper, the Cold Skull locked in. Skull End locked in. He had Ibushi go 1, 2 drops to the hand. He's about to win by submission. And then he releases the hold and goes for the moonsault and misses the high spot. And then after that, it kind of went downhill for Sonata. Sonata was fighting from behind. And then Kota gets hit with an Okada roll. Kicks out at like 2.95 seconds. I thought the match was over at one point. Then as the sequences started going, he hits Sonata with Kamigoye. Sonata kicks out at 2.95. And it's like, wow, okay. Now Sonata looks like he's going to win. But the Golden Star ends up winning with a Kamigoye. He is now back-to-back G1 winner. The third guy other than Chono and Tenzan to do it. The first guy in about 10, 15, 20 years to do it. The first guy to go back to 3 finals in a row, the trifecta, the golden trifecta. So he won. They do the big celebration. The streamers, he almost busted his ass on the streamers, which is pretty funny. Luckily, he didn't hurt himself, but the streamers rolled down. He has pictures from Masahiro Chono and the company executives. Great moment for Ibushi. Backstage, as you know, you have to defend the contract going forward. Jay White comes out to share a toast with him. A very innocent toast. Of Zima Water, by the way. Zima Water got the money made last night. Ibushi slams the bottle down like that. Very nice. You know, they're very cordial with each other. They share a toast of Zima water. Ibushi then splashes him in the face like he's Ratchet, but then he goes whoosh, whoosh. And it looks like now Power Struggle's main event, at least one of the nights of Power Struggle's main event, will be Kotaibushi versus Jay White for the contract. I hope, personally, we see Tetsuya Naito versus Kota at Wrestle Kingdom. I think that's a bigger main event than Jay White versus Naito. Or possibly Shingo Takagi versus Naito. Even though I love Shingo, Kota is the main event guy right now. It's time to let that main event go. They had a great feud for the IC title. Let's run it back for the world title at Wrestle Kingdom 15, which they also announced is going to be 2 nights. So once again, Wrestle Kingdom's extravaganza will be 2 nights. That's all for this quick review, guys. Stay tuned for the 3T podcast as we cover the entire G1 tournament in its entirety. This is Gerard from the 3T Crew signing off. Until next time, see ya.